All right, Georgia falls to Alabama 27-24. I'm going to try to do this where I'm at because there are some people that will not let me into the press box, which is, that I'm a member of the press. Can't get in the press box. Obviously, I'm a terrorist or something. So whatever. Look, Alabama deserved to win tonight. They were the better team tonight when it comes down to it. Um, I think you heard this from a lot of people. Nick Saban, Kirby Smart. Is it going to be the best four teams, or is it going to be the four other teams? Alabama should be in. There's just no question about that. And just if that would be insane to me if they don't get in. But frankly, if it's the best four teams, Georgia should be in too. Now, what's my reasoning? What's my logic? Just watch them play. Okay, they've lost one game by 3 points. Okay, on a neutral field. I mean, Texas can make the same argument, but there's no world where Florida State is better than Georgia. It just doesn't exist. And in terms of Washington, they're probably one of the four most deserving because they won their conference. They're undefeated and all that stuff. Their best win, they have 2 wins over the same team in the top 10. Georgia has 2 over the different teams in the top 11. But all you got to see is watch Georgia play. But that's not how this works now. Alabama earned their way in tonight. To me, again, if they're not in, something's wrong. Okay, one of these 2 teams should certainly be in. I would say they both should, but that's me. And people say, why? How can you say that? What are you talking about? Well, 2017, they both go in as the 3 and the 4. They both play for the national championship. That game is decided on the last play of the game. 2021, they both go in. One is the 1 and one is the 3. They both win. They play for the national championship. Well, this isn't last year. Shut up. Who are the best teams? Who are the best teams? That's it. Not, you play in the SEC, so you played in a championship game against, a top 8 team. You lost that game or you won that game. We're only going to take one team from the SEC. In what world is the SEC not the best league in the country? We're just being honest here. How is that the case? So I think what will happen is Georgia will get left out. I don't think that's right. It's certainly not right for Alabama to get left out, but that Texas beat Oklahoma State by 1 million today, to me, is irrelevant. Georgia's better than Texas, too, by the way. So, we beat Alabama, and, what are your other wins? I'll wait. I'll wait and listen. So is this only about the final weekend of the season, and that's it? Or is it about every other game? Because if this is only about the final game of the season, why in the hell would you play the SEC championship ever? Alabama's twice not played in the SEC championship. They haven't even won their division, and they won the national championship. That's happened twice. Now, how is this any different than that? Well, this is this year. Listen, you're going to leave one of the best 4 teams out. If you leave Georgia out, you are. Now, I think that's what's going to happen. It's just what it is, but it's not right. It's not. If it's most deserving, like Bill Hancock said, then it should be the best 4 teams. Now, who are those best 4? It's not Florida State. That's pretty obvious. Is it Michigan? I guess. Is it Washington? I don't know. It is Georgia. If you can't see that, I just don't know football, because all you're going to is this discussion of, well, they didn't win the conference championship game. So it shouldn't be a zero-sum game between Alabama and Georgia as to who gets in. It should be the best 4 teams, not a zero-sum game between 2 teams that are now 12-1. So Texas is better than Georgia because Texas beat Alabama and then Alabama beat Georgia. Is that how we're doing it now? Because that works. That makes a lot of sense. So my sarcasm is pretty much at all-time high right now because I do think that it's chaos down here. I can't go on the field because of one thing after another. I can't get into the press box, which is ridiculous. Because you should see where I'm at right now. But so Georgia's got wins over number 10, number 11, number 9. They have a loss to number 8. Texas has wins over number 8. I don't want to miss any here. Texas has wins over number 8. and number 18. So Georgia has 3 top 21 wins, and Texas has 2. One of which is a very dominant win over Oklahoma State. Georgia dominated Tennessee. I don't know if they played Kansas State. Are we getting that far down the line? I mean, that's kind of my point is which games matter here. Florida State's best win, I believe, is LSU at 13. So Georgia has 2 wins over that. It's like, what are we talking about? Washington, their best win is Oregon. And then did they play Arizona? I think they might have played. I don't know, but they don't have a lot of great wins. I'll tell you that. And it's just what it is. I mean, it's just what it is. But it's too bad for the Dogs losing like that. I mean, it just comes down to basic things. You cannot fumble inside your 10-yard line. They only gave up a field goal there, and then you can't. You don't want to miss a field goal. But I can't hate Peyton Woodring, man. I mean, he did all he could do and did all he should have done the whole season for Georgia. He missed a field goal. It clanked off the side. I mean, that ain't on him, y'all. I mean, it's just he just missed one kick. So, Alabama. Listen, Alabama played really well tonight. I thought they had to play a perfect game to beat Georgia. It turns out that was not true at all. But they did play well. Bama with, so listen, I'll be the one that says it. Maybe some other people will or they will not. I mean, Kirby got outcoached. That's what happened. And I'd say don't mean that in a bad way or a good way or whatever, but Nick has outcoached Kirby a few times, and tonight was one of those nights. Well, why? How can you say that? Jalen Milroe had way too much time, and so in the grand scheme of things, you got to make decisions. And those obviously these people know far more about football than I do, but I can read a scoreboard, and it looks like Alabama won tonight to me. And the way that Georgia attacked Alabama was to, for a while there, at least in the second quarter, was to let Milroe sit back there. They were not going to pressure him and let him get loose. I think they adjusted. But really, I mean, saying they got out-coached, I mean, it's not like he was like getting worked up and down the field. He just had the better team and lost. I don't see how it's any other thing other than, well, you got out-coached. I mean, partly. I mean, the other thing was you had a turnover at the 10-yard line. I mean, they won by 3. They kicked the field goal there. There you go, right? I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, Alabama, I do not think turned the ball over. So they're going to miss the playoff by, a mistake in the 10-yard area. And, yeah, I mean, it happens. They could never get going running the ball. 78 yards rushing on 31 attempts. I mean, neither team really ran it, to be honest with you. But Alabama ran it enough, 114 at the end of the day. They had 163, but they went backwards 50 yards. This was just a roller coaster of a game, man. When these two get together, it's just like you can pay attention to the first half, but it's always the fourth quarter with these two. And I thought Georgia really had. Someone just said the best 2 teams play tonight in Atlanta. I think they did. I mean, I've said for some time that Alabama. I don't know why Alabama was ranked number 8. Like because they lost to Texas. Like they're better than Texas. I mean, they just are. So that's just all there is to it. Now they said, well, we beat them. Well, I mean, and you probably are going to get in the playoff because of that. But I don't think they're the better team. What I would be very curious is to see the rematch at this stage with Texas and Alabama, but I don't know if we will. I mean, if Florida State gets into this thing, we got a real problem. Like it's many times in this playoff era, the fourth team has been incorrect. It's not unique. And I think when this comes out, it will not be abnormal to see, like if Michigan loses tonight, which they won't, but then they knocked out because they lost to Iowa? That's a way worse loss than losing to Alabama or losing to Texas or Texas losing to Oklahoma. I mean, would Michigan then be out? By that logic, they would. Michigan's, I don't know if it's clearly, but Michigan's one of the best 4 teams in the country, right? So we got a real problem with the system. At least it's not the BCS anymore. I mean, that was awful. But we're in a better place now. But we still, I don't know about 12, but that's coming next year. But this was the year they did really need more people into the playoff. If as far as who should be in there. Now that's not happening, but it should. And all conferences are not created equally. They're just not. And you can't, with a straight face, say that Michigan's been through the same thing that even Alabama has or Georgia. They just haven't. They played 2 games the whole season. Like you know, that's pathetic. Has Florida State played a difficult schedule? No, they haven't. They beat LSU. I mean, that's a good win. Alabama beat LSU. They're not the only ones. Ole Miss beat LSU. I mean, LSU's got a couple losses along the way. So I don't know. I think it's disappointing for Georgia. This was not a spectacular team. This was not a dominant team necessarily, but this is a team that deserves their chance to play for a national championship. I don't think we're going to see that. We should. And we definitely should see Alabama in there. And we just should. I don't care about Texas being in it or not. I mean, you want to come to the league, you're going to be in the league next year. Yeah. I mean, you may beat Alabama next year, you may beat Georgia, you may beat whoever, but you're going to grind that thing out for 10 weeks or 8 weeks, and then you're going to have, other stuff too. So you're going to you want to be. They were chanting SEC today. You're going to be in the middle of this thing. It's going to be a different experience for you. I'm just telling you. You may win it. You may. I don't know. But you won the Big 12 4 times in a quarter century. So please don't come in with a bunch of hot head like you're something special. You're not. You're just a team that never seems to get it together. Maybe they've gotten it together this year. I don't know. We'll see. But, UW, they beat everybody they played. But if you've not beaten everybody you played, then, you got some explaining to do. I think because Georgia lost when they lost is the reason they're not going to get in. It's that simple. That's all there is to it. And, sports isn't fair. It's not about fair. Life is not fair. You don't have fairness in life. In sports, you don't necessarily get that either. There was some atrocious officiating tonight, really on, both teams benefited and were hurt by it. It was atrocious officiating at times. How they can miss certain things, I just don't know how you can miss some of those calls. I'll be honest. I just don't know how you can miss some of those calls. But at the end of the day, the team that should have won this game won it. Georgia just never could get the ball back, and Bama was able to take a knee. Jalen Milroe played really well. And, they asked him to be big in big moments, and he was. He was not big the whole game, but he was big in big moments, 13 to 23, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times. I don't know if those were real sacks. He ran for 68, but he went backwards 39. So he wound up with 29 yards. Kendall, Dejon Edwards, even Carson, Georgia just never could get a consistent run game going. This is the first time, I believe, in Carson's entire career that he's had negative rushing yards. So there's that too. But I don't know. I think it's been a very good season. Now, listen, what will happen after this thing? I mean, there's a very remote but extremely unlikely chance that, Georgia gets picked for the playoff. In that scenario, I'm not even going to bother with. But other than that, we will have to see where they're ranked. If they're ranked number 5, they're going to play Louisville in the Orange Bowl, period. That's all there is to it. If they are ranked behind Ohio State, then they will not play in the Orange Bowl. The highest ranked Big Ten or SEC team goes to the Orange Bowl and plays the ACC champion. So there's almost no scenario where Florida State plays in the Orange Bowl. Because if they win, well, there is if they win and they get left out. So then that would be that scenario. But Georgia would crush Florida State. A lot of people would crush Florida State. Florida nearly beat them last week. So we'll just see. But I think, it's just a tough loss. I've not had to do any of these videos in some time. The last time it was here a couple years ago amid this chaos. But Alabama completely deserved to win tonight. They played as the better team. There's no luck. There was no anything. I thought Jermaine Burton acted like a total turd after the game, and he knows what I'm talking about. I've got the pictures too. But it's whatever. I do hope Alabama gets a chance to play. It would be criminal if they are left out, just period. When you win the best league, you beat the number 1 team in the country, and, you get left out because of Florida State. Like that is insane to me. So that I think they both should be in personally, but I am a best four person. It should have been best four in 18, probably should have been best four in 19. It wasn't. We saw Notre Dame come get their brains kicked in. Oklahoma got their brains kicked in 19. I mean, this league is the best league. Oh, you're a homer. No, I use my eyes. And, it's not hard to see. All you have to do is watch the games and you see. But congratulations to Nick. Just the guy is the best coach in college football history, period. He's great. I don't think it, takes away from what Kirby and them have accomplished. I mean, they're still the defending national championships until someone else, until they're eliminated. I mean, I think they're eliminated, but I don't know it yet. So we'll just see. But it's a Georgia team that will depend on what happens with Carson coming back or not coming back. You've seen the last of Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey playing, legitimate games. They could play in a bowl game. I don't know. I don't see how that benefits Brock Bowers in any way, and probably not Ladd either. And there could be some other guys that don't play if you're playing in the Orange Bowl or the Peach Bowl or the Cotton or the Fiesta. I have no idea. But I'm just telling you, it is a fact that the highest ranked Big Ten and or SEC, they go to the Orange Bowl, period. So that's what to look for. If Georgia's the 5 or the 6, how would you ever put Ohio State in front of Georgia? That's my question. Like they're just hanging out at home and lost a couple weeks ago or whatever it was, and like they move up because they didn't play. That's not going to happen. So I would get ready for Miami in a way. I wouldn't start booking flights or anything like that. But let's just see what happens tonight. If there's something bizarre in the universe that changes things, but I don't think so. Tough loss for the Dogs. Congratulations to Alabama and Nick Saban. Amazing coaching job by Nick Saban this season and tonight.